work with the values.
Okay. Tejas, would you like to add anything to it? Tejaji, I mean. Sorry.
Much.
Tejaji. Tejaji. Yes, yes.
I think everything has been told. Like you can basically create programs without variables, but like you would have to keep on writing the same thing and again and again. And there's also wastage of memory location because you're defining the same thing again and again. So it's not basically convenient and economical.
So user-defined problems cannot be solved without creating variables, right? But because if we will not create variables, it will not have a sense then, right? And it's not also a good practice, right? Okay. Okay. So my question is for Simriddhi. Can you name any data type you have come to know about and its
So the
purpose?
integer or the floating data type and the string data type.
Why we use those kind of data types?
So the integer data type is used for storing whole numbers, while the floating data types are used for decimal values, and the string data types are used for alphanumeric values.
Okay. Aryan,
Yes, sir.
okay, explain me uh, anything related to data types, what you have learned.
So I learned basic things only, like data types can be said that what type of value we are assigning to a particular variable. In general, it's that only, and it is done to remove the possibilities of error and to know which operation we want to perform on a particular variable. And then there can be many types, like Boolean is also there, which represents true or false. And with the analogy of binary, we can say 0 or 1. Then we can have char, like in C++, we have the char, which is used to store only a single alphabet.
Okay, okay. Anybody has idea about type safety? What does type safety means? Anybody? Tejas, Tejaji, uh, anybody?
Right.
Can you hear
So
me?
like in yes.
Yes. You can hear me right now, right? I think
Yes.
my internet connection was slow, right? Okay. So I was asking regarding have you know anything about type safety? What does type safety mean? Kiara, Dhriti, Vansh, anybody? Okay, Vansh, go ahead. Tejas also, okay.
Uh, Hello, hello.
Yes, yes. Go ahead, go ahead.
Sir, basically, type safety is when operations can only be done on same type of data types or compatible types of data types, such as if we try to convert a long integer into a integer, it will not work as intended. And if we use a function that gives out a decimal type data type, and if we put a whole number data type, it will not work due to
Okay,
the existence.
okay. Tejas, go ahead.
So like type safety is mainly prevalent in strongly typed languages, like where the data type is explicitly mentioned instead of implicitly like Python. So what this helps do is like, for example, we're converting a floating point data type into a integer data type. So it helps prevent things like data loss, like lossy conversion.
Okay, good, good. Anybody has any question regarding to it? What is type safety? Anybody? Okay. Last time I would like to know typecasting. Arsh, what does typecasting mean? Any idea?
So to be frank, I have no idea.
Okay, go ahead. Simriddhi, Dhriti, go ahead. What does typecasting mean? Yes, Dhriti, you can.
So typecasting are of two types, explicit and implicit.
So it means that when the conversion from one data type takes place to another data type, in explicit, you specially mention that you're converting a double value to an int, and in implicit, the lower value gets the data type which is at a lower hierarchy is get converted to in upper hierarchy.
Okay. Simriddhi, now you can also add.
Sir, I think she's covered all the points.
Okay, good. Arsh, you got the idea what is typecasting now? Anybody has any question? What does typecasting mean? Tejaji, Vansh, Udita, Udita, any question there?
No, sir.
Okay, good. Yes, Riti, go ahead.
Sir, if you could please once again explain type safety.
Okay, definitely I will explain both of the things. Type safety and typecasting. I will explain it. Like they just mentioned, I will also add some other things to it. Okay. So now I think everybody has done his or her homework, right? You have already got an idea about what is a data type, right? Why we create variables, right? Now let's see it practically today how we can create variables and what are the data types. Do we have to define data types in Python? Let's see. So if you remember, Python is a dynamically type-safe language. Remember that. Python is a dynamically type-safe language. We also call Python is a dynamically type-safe language. What does that mean? Means if you are creating a container or if you are creating a variable to hold some information inside it, you don't have to worry about the type like in other languages, which are strongly type-safe language, right? Let's suppose if we talk about C, if you want to store a number in a container, so why we store contain a number in a container? It's another question. Huh? Why we? Now let me ask this question first to you people. Why we store information in containers? Why we store information in variables? Go ahead, Arsh. Why we store data in our variables? Why we? You are on mute. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh, yeah. So it helps us to like assign names and values to it.
Mm-hmm.
So then you can update or reference it easily. So throughout the code, so you don't have to like repeatedly type them and type the raw data.
Okay, Aryan, would you like to add anything to it?
Sir, I think because we can use it later easily without wasting much of our time and memory also.
Okay, Tejas, Tejaji, Tejas, both. Why we
I
store
guess
information?
most of the points have been covered.
Okay, Tejaji, all points are covered?
Most of the points are covered. Basically, to save memory and to reusability, basically.
Yes, you forgot to mention one point. It is correct. If we will not store any information, we won't be able to solve a problem, right? Let's suppose you are writing a code to solve a problem. But first you need to take that problem. Let's suppose if you are creating a program to add two numbers, right? So first you need to store that information somewhere so that later you can do the operation, right? If we are not storing information, then you won't be able to write a solution to it, right? So that is the reason we need containers, we need variables to store information inside them, right? But when you need it for temporary basis, we use variables. But when you want to store them permanently somewhere, so that tomorrow, later tomorrow, or after a month, you will be able to access it, then there comes the concept of databases, right? Or file systems you can, when you want to store information permanently. But when you want an information, it should be available while program is running a temporary base, there we use variables, right? And also variables are very important, basic building blocks that helps us to solve our problems. Let's suppose, let me give you a quick idea about, let's suppose you are logging in Instagram account, okay? You are typing your username and password and you are submitting the button. The moment you are submitting the button, a request goes to the server, right? And you are also submitting some information, your username and password. Behind the scene, what happens? that information is collected via a backend language and stored in a container, right? In a variable, right? And after that, those variables are, getting used and checked with the database by executing some query and to check that person or that particular username password exists or not. And also we gets, once that query gets executed in the database, you will get a response, and that response is again stored in a variable, and based on that variable you are informed whether your information is correct or not. Getting my point? So the whole building block of any programming language is variable. Remember it. If there are no variables, you won't be able to solve the problems. Let's talk about ourselves. You know how many variables in the whole day we create in our brain? Millions. Like suppose you and me, we are able to see each other, and somewhere tomorrow I'll connect with you. I remember your names. I remember your, the face, right? The structure of you. How? Because your information is getting stored somewhere in my brain. Getting my point? So what is happening behind the scene? Somehow you can say also there are so many variables that are getting created and stored in my brain. Is it okay? So same thing happens when you are solving a problem. You need variables, you need containers via you will be able to store users information, a kind of, let's suppose you are creating a UI via user is interacting but he is passing some information, right? Then how you will be able to answer that information unless you are not storing in a container and then checking it with the database or something else and reply him back. So getting my point? So this is very important, right? So that is the reason we said a variable is a location of a memory, right? Like one of you mentioned also to store, to save memory, right? Or you can say it's better to create variables because variables are nothing just a location of a memory that contains a value, right? That stores our information. Is it clear? Or in layman, you can say variables are nothing just like containers. They hold our information, which we can use later in the program. Okay? Is it clear? But when it comes strongly typed language, when you are storing information, you tell the interpreter or compiler, especially compiled languages, look, I am going to get this kind of information, create a container that should have a capability to store only that kind of information. So that is the reason we create data type it. So we can say data type is like an identifier for the compiler to create a container of a kind which information you want to store. Okay? Is it clear? So let's suppose if I'm using a data type int, then I'm giving a container a name. So what will happen behind the scene? It will create a memory which will be able to store only that kind of information, and also based on the data type, it will assign it a particular number of bytes. Let's suppose integer in Python gets how many bytes? Anybody has any idea?
4.
Okay, 4.
Yeah.
It gets 8 bytes, okay, which is 64 bits, right?
Bits.
Okay, is it clear? But in other language, let's talk about C. There it gets only 4 bytes, right? Is it clear? In also C sharp. But in Python, you will see just after some time, you will be able to see int somehow it is getting 64 bits. Okay, that means 8 bytes of memory. Is it clear? Is it clear? Any questions so far? Tejas, Tejaji, Athar, Udita, Dhriti, Vansh. No question? Keshav? Okay, so that is the reason before creating any container, you need to specify what kind of information it is going to hold, so that later if I'll do my operations, it will do it accordingly, right? And it is going to be less prone for errors. But in Python, like I said, you don't have to worry about mentioning the data types. Why? Because Python is a dynamically type safe language. Means the moment you are creating a container and you are storing some information, it will automatically decide behind the scene and it will assign it a data type. Okay, is it clear? Any questions so far? No. So now let's see it it in practically how we can create containers, how we can write solution to some problems, and let's see it. Okay, what is a static program? What is a user defined program? Anybody has idea about what is a static program and what is a user defined program? Go ahead. Nobody? Yara, Simriti, Dhriti, Udita, Keshav? No idea? Static and user. Okay, Tejas, go ahead.
So rough idea. So like in static, I feel like it is when the programmer has like defined all the constraints, like the variables, like hard coded the values in.
Mm-hmm.
And in dynamic, it is when user input is taken, or like the values can be changed based on external factors.
Right, right. Exactly correct. So like Tejas mentioned, static code is something when a developer has already assigned a static values in variables and user doesn't have a choice to change them, right? So that we can say it is a static program. User defined means when user has a capability to change those values while program is running, okay? Like taking input from a user. So those kind of programs are like user defined. So in real world, 99% problems are user defined based. Like let's suppose if you are creating a simple calculator right now, or if I'm opening a calculator, I am able to type some inputs here, right? The operator and the operation I want to do, I'll be able to do it by myself, right? It's not there. Developer, the person who created the calculator has already set some values. I have a capability to change it, right? So that kind of program is called a user defined. Is it clear? Sure? Okay. Vansh, is it clear?
Sir,
Okay, so let's do one thing. Let me share my screen and let's do one thing. Let's see it practically. Let me just try to open the Google Colab. Let me know if it is visible. Okay. So please make sure everybody is, having, full clarity and focus on it. Huh? Later we will discuss it again. Okay. But make sure everybody is look at the the screen, and if anybody has any question just go ahead and ask. Okay, is it clear now? So let's see, if I just want to display simple message in Python, what is the function we use for it? Like I said, you need to remember whatever language you are learning, every language is made of two things. Remember that. Whatever thing you are learning, it's not about programming language. Anything, be it anything. Let's suppose I want to learn how to ride a car, motorcycle, for example, or I want to know how to drive a car. I just want to learn it. But like I said, it's not about programming, it's for general. Everything in this universe is made of two things that you want to learn. One is only some predefined things from which that particular thing is made, and also how to use those predefined things. There is a rule defined. Okay, let's suppose I want to learn how to drive a scooty or something, ride a scooty. Okay, so if I'll talk about a scooty, scooty is made of couple of parts or so many parts. Tire, engine, accelerator, right? Clutch, brake, right? But if you can see, every part has a specific job to do, right? So that is the reason, like we said, every programming language has some set of keywords, and every keyword has a set, specific job to do. And how to use those keywords, you have to follow a rule. Let's suppose, for example, let's talk about this laptop. If I want to use it, I need to on it first, right? If I'll not on it, I won't be able to use it. Is it clear? Or if I want to use, I need to open the lid first. So I am following a rule. Isn't clear? So if I want to drive a scooty or ride a scooty, I need to insert a key first, and I need to turn it a right direction. Unless I am not going to do that, I won't be able to, drive the scooty. Is it clear? Or ride the scooty. Is it clear? Is it clear? So what I am doing, I am using a set of keywords and followed by some rule, and that way I'm solving my problem. Same thing happens with any programming language. If you are writing solution to a problem, with the help of any programming language, let's suppose I'm talking about Python. So Python is also made of set of keywords, which we call a keyword is nothing that has a specific job to do, a reserve word in that particular language, which has a specific job to do. But how to use that, you have to follow a rule. Is it clear? Sure. So you need to keep this thing in mind. Let's tomorrow, if you are learning some other things other than Python, if you are learning any other language, let's suppose somebody is also learning C, C++, right? Or Java. Remember that every language is made of set of keywords and followed by some rules. Once you followed rule and use those keywords, you are able to solve your problem. Isn't it clear? Is it clear? Anybody has any question? So let's suppose I want to display a simple message in Python. Let's start with a simple message. So in Python, we have a function called print, right? So print is used for what? To display anything that is written within parentheses, within double quotes. Okay? Anything which is written within double quotes is considered as a string, and this print function will display it as it is. So this print is a predefined function. And then you have used parentheses. Whenever you see a function, how you will identify, is it a function or a property? In every function, you will see a parenthesis, these brackets you see, right? So you can say, okay, this is a function. This is already defined. What I am doing, I am just using it. I am just calling it. And followed by double quotes. Inside it, I am writing hello world. This is a string. The moment I am going to run it, and you can see I am going to get an output of hello world. So I just wrote a function print, and I just type a simple string inside it within double quotes. Anything which is written double quotes or single quotes in Python is treated as a string. String is nothing, just a bunch of characters. Is it clear? Keshav, Udita, everybody, is it clear? Arsh, is it clear? Okay, now you can see I was able to display a message which is called hello world. If I run it again, I'll get the same output. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me write another function here again with some another message. Let's say, for example, let me type welcome to Python. Welcome to, and let me just hit it. And you can see first it printed hello world, then second it printed welcome to Python lecture. Is it clear? Anybody has any question? So you can say this uh, Python is an interpreted language also. Why? Because you can see this line is first getting executed. After that, this line is getting executed. So you can also identify, oh, the first line is getting executed. After that, second line is getting executed. So this way we can also say, okay, Python is an interpreted programming language. The code is getting executed from top to bottom, line by line. Any question so far? Okay, now instead of double quotes in Python, I can use also single quotes. I can use also, let me just type here single quotes and let's hit it again and you will see I'm getting the output. Is it clear? So I just use a simple print function in order to display my a message. But in real world, you cannot solve a problem just by printing a message. 99% problems are input based. 99% problems are in real world input based, right? Okay. What does input based mean? Anybody would like to add? What does input based mean? Arsh, any idea about? No? You are making notes? Okay, good, good. So input based means where user has a capability to provide his problem or giving input. Let's suppose I'm asking you what is 2 plus 2, right? So I'm able to give my input to you and you are able to store it. Then later you will process it and you will give me output, right, Kara? Are you there?
Yes.
Tejaji, are you there? Tejas, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. So if Ashman, are you there? Ashman,
Yes.
where were you?
I was busy somewhere else, so I couldn't join earlier. I'm so
Okay.
sorry.
No worries, no dear. Okay. So if anybody has any question, just say it. Okay. So like I said, real world problems are input based. Let's suppose I want to solve a problem. What solve a problem? For example, tomorrow you have to give us idea, what you want to solve in real world, right? But those problems are going to be input based. Like let's suppose I ask you, you need to create a application that should solve accounting problems. A common man for a common man it is pretty hectic for him to handle all the accounting stuff himself, right? So let's suppose I'll ask you to create a software or create an application. It should be an easy for a common man to handle all the accounting things. But in order to handle his accounting this, he need to provide first input, right? What kind of data, what kind of accounting things that application has to be managed, it needs to be first taken, right? Is it clear? So we need to store that information. So that is what we say input based. So 99% problems are input based. So that is the reason we need variables. So this print function is just for displaying anything you want to display. You want to show a message, we can use this print function. Is it clear? Also, if you want to solve an expression, let's suppose I want to write print 4 plus 8 multiplied by 2, for example. If I'll run it, it will give me an also output. So I can use the same function to evaluate also expressions. Okay? Is it clear? Anybody has any question? So now you know how we can use print function to display any message, or we can even evaluate an expression using print function. Now let's move to the next point. Let's suppose if I just want to store some information and I want to use it later. So there comes the concept of variables. But make sure whenever you are creating a variable, you need to follow some conventions, right? The name you are giving to your container in which you want to store information, it shouldn't be a keyword, right? The first character shouldn't be a digit. The first character shouldn't be a keyword or a special character. And you cannot have a space between a name. You can use underscore. These are the naming conventions you need to follow. Is it clear? First, the container you are creating, the name you are giving to a container, it shouldn't be a keyword first. The first character of the name shouldn't be a keyword or a special character. Third thing, you cannot leave a blank space between a name. You can use underscore. Okay? So these are the things you need to remember. Is it clear? Now, let's do, Keshav, go ahead.
So what was the point that you were explaining about the first character?
We were discussing the naming conventions of a variable. When we are declaring a variable or creating a variable, the name shouldn't be a keyword. Okay, it shouldn't be a keyword. The name you are giving to a container on which you want to store an information, it shouldn't be a keyword. Second thing, the first character of the name shouldn't be a number or a special character like dollar, percent, asterisk, pound symbol, such kind of special characters. Okay. And third thing, the name in your name, there shouldn't be a space. Huh? You cannot leave a space between your names. Okay. Is it clear? Though if you want to have a space, you can use underscore instead of a blank space. Dhriti, is it clear? Udita, Kiara, everybody else, Ashman?
Sir, is Python a case sensitive language?
Yes. Python is a case sensitive language, right? Like suppose if I'll show you a simple example. Let's suppose instead of P small, I am going to write it in capital. Let's try to hit it and you will see I am getting an error. Name error. Print is not defined. Okay. So you can say Python is a case sensitive language. Means the keywords, if there are keywords in lowercase, you have to write them as it is. You cannot write them in uppercase. If there is a keyword in uppercase, you have to write it in uppercase. Okay. Is it clear, Vansh?
Yes, sir.
Good. Good. Now let me just correct it again and let's try to run it again, and you can see I'm getting an output 40. Now I was just talking about how to create a container, how to create a variable to store in information inside. Let's suppose I want to store a name inside a container and I want to use it later. So let me do a one thing. Let me create a variable name. So I just created a container. I gave it a name as name. Make sure whenever you are declaring a variable, the data you want to store, the kind of data you want to store, make sure you will create a variable in such way so that if tomorrow another developer is going to work on your program, he will get an idea what kind of information this particular container is going to store. Okay, rather than giving totally mismatching names, huh? Let's suppose I am going to use is equal, let me just write a name of, for example, Sudhanshu, for example. Okay, so is equal to in programming language means assignment operator. It doesn't mean equal to operator. Okay, it is meaning here is assign whatever is on the right side, assign it in the left side. So that means when this line is going to be executed, our interpreter will do one thing. It will create a container, just like suppose I have this cup. Okay, it will create a container and it will store information inside it like Sudhanshu. Okay, is it clear? Now my information is stored inside a variable name. Now you can say I am getting tick. That means I was able to store successfully a name inside a container name. Now let's suppose if I want to use it, let me say print name. I am not, I am just mentioning the variable here. Look, I am just keeping the name as it is. I am not putting it inside the double quotes or single. Okay, go ahead, Arsh.
Yeah, so you could say that name is like a variable, right?
Right, right.
Right. Okay.
So name is a variable here, or you can say it's a container that is storing my information, a string, right? And you can see when I'm using print now, I'm just mentioning my variable name here and it was able to display whatever is information inside it. Okay, but somehow if I'll keep it like this, so what will happen, it will display name, it will not display the data inside it. Why? Because it is treating it as a string now. Is it clear? Sure. Tejas, is it clear, dear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ashman, any question? Tejaji, Dhriti, Udita,
No, sir.
Kiara. Okay, it is clear now, right? So so let's do one thing. Let's do it like this and let's try it again. Now you are able to see it, what is inside it. Okay, now I just want to know what is the data type of it, right? Like I said, Python is a dynamically type safe language. We haven't mentioned any data type here, right? We just created a container and we just stored the information inside it. But in other language like C, Java, C sharp, C++, other languages, there you have to mention the data type first. What kind of information you want to store inside our variable, you have to mention, but in Python you don't have to. Okay, let's see. I want to know, let me just say print and let me use a function type. So type will tell me what is the data type of this variable. So the moment I am going to run it, you can see I am getting class string. Is it clear, Udita, Kiara, Simriddhi? So now you understood. It is telling me that the variable name you are talking about, inside it there is a information which is of what kind? A string. Okay? Okay, let's suppose uh Let me do one thing. Let's try it again. Let me do one thing. Name is equal to 21. And let me just type print name and type also. And you will see this time it is telling me the value is 21, but the data type is integer, right? Because now I have changed the value. I have stored inside it an integer value. And remember that what will happen to the previous value? It will override it. Okay? It will override it. So our final value inside our variable is an integer value because our code gets executed line by line, line by line. Okay, Udita, go ahead.
Sir, if, for example, if we put in the value of Sudhanshu without the without the double inverted commas, will the type still come as string?
No, it will throw an error first. Look, it will not run. The moment if you are removing this thing, you will get an error because, like I said, every language has a rule you have to follow. So it is telling us whenever you are storing bunch of characters in a container, it has to be within double quotes. Okay. So look, if I'll try to run it again, you will see I am getting name error. Name Sudhanshu is not defined. It is treating something else. It is maybe considering it as a variable. And it is thinking, okay, Sudhanshu is another variable, another container. Whatever is inside it, store it inside the name variable. Okay. But it is not defined somewhere. Is it clear?
Yes.
Everybody? Anybody has any question regarding to it? So far, is it clear? Same thing. Let's suppose if you are storing a decimal value in a variable, that time if you are running type function again, it will show you a float. Or if you are storing like a boolean value, true or false, it will give you a type as a bool. That means boolean value. So far, these are the fundamental data types, or we can say basic or built-in data types. Like also we call them primitive data types. Int, float, bool, okay? The string somehow is also called user-defined data type, okay? But int, float, and bool, these are actually fundamental or primitive data types. With the help of these, we can create other data types also. Is it clear so far? Anybody? Okay, now let's move to the next interesting part. For example, let's suppose I just created a variable name and I would like to store inside it, let's suppose Arsh, for example, okay? And let's I created another variable and let's I give it a value of age 18, okay? Okay, so I just declare two variables. Inside one I have stored a string, another variable inside it I have stored an integer value. Is it clear? Now I just want to print both of these information, like suppose print name and let's say age. So I'll get an output Arsh 18. Isn't it clear? So I can use comma separator in print function and I can mention as many as variables after comma, right? And it is going to be displayed as it is. So far, everything is clear? Ashman, Tejas,
Yes, sir.
Vansh,
Yes.
Riti,
Yes,
Simriddhi,
sir.
Aryan, are you there? Atharv, Keshav.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so good. So now there is a catch. Let's suppose somebody asks me, I want you to display this name and age with the help of user defined message. Like suppose my name is Arsh and my age is this. Okay. Or my name is Arsh and I am this much of years old. So that means I need to put my user defined message inside it, right? With variables. How we are going to do that? Let's see. For example, I'll say print. I can use so many ways. There are so many ways. You can display your user defined message with your variables. One of the easiest and oldest way till Python exists is this one. My name is like this. Then you can use comma and again you can use my age is age, right? This is one of the oldest way. If I am going to run it and you can see Now I am able to display my user defined message with a variable. Okay, is it clear? So this kind of program is a static program, right? If somebody will run this program, he will always get Arsh and age 18. If he has to change it, he won't be able to do it unless a developer will change inside the variable, right? By just modifying the code. This is, you can also say it's a kind of a static program. Okay, because we are mentioning all the values first and you are running it. We are not giving capability to this program to have, option to ask user to give your input. Is it clear, Aryan? Pakka?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Look, this is one way of displaying a message, like using my name is this, comma. Let's see another way. Let's see another way. Let me just commit this line. So you can see I just committed out. What is the shortcut key? You can just press Control and question mark in order to comment out this line. So now your interpreter will ignore it. Okay? You can just press Control and question mark. If you have MacBook, you can use Command and again the question mark. Okay? This will work same. Anybody? Now let's see another way of displaying it. Another way of displaying is I can use, which we can say, f string, or this way. These are both ways we can use. Look, one way is mentioning what my name is this, then using this placeholder, curly braces, and my age is this again. But then you have to use the format method. Inside that format method, you have to specify the variables. So what will happen when this line is going to be executed? What will happen? Interpreter will put the value of this inside this. It's a kind of a placeholder for him. Okay. So the moment I am going to run it, and you can see I'm getting my name is Arsh and my age is 80. Okay. But look, if somehow I am doing this, comma, name. Now look, what will happen? I'll get my name is 18 and my age is Arsh. So in this way, you need to make sure the order is correct. Okay. There is another way to, rectify this problem or solve this problem. Is this clear now? This is another way. Whatever way you like, you can follow that. So this is another way. Another way is you can use this f string. It is the latest. It was introduced in 3.5 version. Today you will see the Python is 3.13, I think, current version of Python. But this version, this f string, before it there was this format method. Before it there was this. Still, Python is supporting these ways also. Huh? It's up to you. Whatever way you want to use, you can. But still, you should know, because sometimes people take examples from chat gpt, claude. They use most of the times this way. So that time they get confused. What is this f? It is nothing. It tells the interpreter my name is this. Whatever is inside this curly brackets, format it. It's kind of asking it to display whatever value is inside it. Okay, but you have to follow this way. This is another way. That means you are putting everything, the whole string inside your double quotes. Where you want to display your variables data, you put a curly brackets, and inside them you put your variable name. Then before double quote stars, you put f. That is f string. Is it clear? Anybody has any question so far? Tejaji, Aryan, Keshvi. Okay, is it clear? Okay. Look, another way I can use, for example, if I'll say print, I can use also, let's say this one, huh? But instead of this, I can also mention, let's say n a is this. So instead of this name, I can just place n and a here. This is another way. It's kind of, I'm associating this name with this n variable, and I am associating this age with this a. You can give it any meaningful name, and then I am specifying that thing here. Now if I'll run it, and you can see I am getting the output. Is it clear? And this is another way. Another way is by concatenation, by using concatenation. But look, we will see a issue here. Let's suppose if I am going to say print, I'll say, for example, my name is, then I'm going to use plus concatenate. Remember, if there is a string, there is two string as an operands, and between them there is an operator as a plus, it will concatenate them. Remember that. Plus has two jobs. Either it adds or it concatenates, kind of joins them. But when both operands are strings, your plus will operator will concatenate them. But if both operators are numbers or integers, it will add them. Okay? Is it clear? Now let's so far just run this part. So you can say I'm getting, okay, my name is Arsh. There is no issue with it, right? Because this is a string and this name, inside it there is a string. It is also a string variable. Okay, there is no issue. We are concatenating string as string. Now let's suppose I am mentioning, okay, my age is this. Let's suppose what will happen now, we will get an error. See, can concatenate only string to string, not integer. Is it clear? Anybody? So why this error came? This is called an exception. Okay, it's the exception that was thrown, and the exception was type error exception. Why? Till this moment everything was okay, but the moment it was trying to concatenate with integer, it threw an error. Why? It is telling us that you cannot concatenate string to integer. It must be a string first. So what we are going to do, we are just displaying here. We are going to ask it to do one thing. Just convert it. Just typecast it. So we are converting our integer into string. This is what we call typecasting. Okay. So typecasting means nothing, just converting one data type into another data type. So same thing is happening here. This age was a having a data of integer and its data type was int. Now we are asking it here to just convert it into string. Now this whole thing becomes here string, and again now it is going to able to concatenate it. Now you can see the error is gone now. So we used a function here, string function. We have float function, we have integer function. So we ask it to convert my integer into a string. So that is what we call typecasting. So we just converted one data type into another data type by using a function called a string. Okay. Any question? Aryan, Tejas, Ashman, Driti, Simriddhi, Arsh, Kiara, Odita, Keshav. Any question related to it? Sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Tejas, is it clear? Okay. So now you know how to display your user-defined message, and with variable, you can use any of these ways, right? Now let's move to the next part here. Now let's suppose, for example, I just want to add two numbers. Look, how I am going to do that. Let's suppose I want to add two numbers. Let me create a variable num1 and let me assign it a value of this. And let me just print num1 plus num2, right? Also num1 minus num2, also multiply, also divide. Let's keep it till this. So you can see I am able to add, subtract, multiply and division, right? So the moment I am going to run it, I'll get the same output, right? Again and again. So it's a static kind of program, right? We are not able to provide any input from here. So this is, you can say it's a static program. So if you want to make this program user defined, that means we have to give this program capability to ask us, give me an input. and later it should able to store it and do the operation. Okay, so that's what we call user defined program. Any question? So now let's see how we can take input from a user by using a function called input function. Like print has a job of displaying, input function has a job of taking input. Let's suppose I'll say num1 and let's say input, enter a number. Let's say num2. Now my question is, let's see what will happen here. So this is the function that has a capability, to take input from a user. Now let's try to run it. See, now it is asking us, like if you are opening a calculator, for example, let me open a calculator. It is asking me give something. I am able to provide my input from here, right? The same thing is like happening here. Let's say I am giving 3. Let's say I am giving 1. So what should be the output? 3 and 1. What is going to be the output? Tejas, Ashman.
4.
4. But let's see what will happen now. So you can see I am getting 31. Why this issue happened? Let's try it again. Let's say 1
Because
and
it's a
1.
string.
And again I'm getting 11. So what is actually happening here? This input function takes every data as a string. No matter what, whatever you are giving, it will treat it as a string. So that is what is happening actually here. It is concatenating it. It is not treating it as a number or integer. Okay. So how to solve this problem? We can do one thing. We will ask it, okay, whatever data you are taking, just convert it into integer, right? Again, this is what we call typecasting, right? Is it clear, Arsh? Okay, again, let me do the same thing here. Now, if I'll try to run it, let's say 4 and 3, and you can see I'm getting 7 now. Also, I can just add a user defined message here. Let's say the sum is this. Let's say 2 and 3. Sorry, let me try it again. Let's say 2 and 3, and you can see the sum is 5, right? So you can see it is working fine, right? Is it clear? So now you understood, okay, if we have to take a particular kind of an information from a user, you need to typecast it, okay? Let's try to do one thing. Let me try to give some decimal value. I just mentioned 1.2 here, for example, but you can see it will throw an error, right, Udita? It is giving an exception, value error, invalid literal for integer with base 10. Why? Because we have used int function here and it is not able to convert it. So how to solve this problem? What if you want to take both kind of information? You want to add integer as well as floats. So that is the reason you can use float as a function here and also float as a function here. Now, if I run this program for, let's say 1.2, I am able to get the answer now. Is it clear? So this is what we call, it's a user defined program now. Now you understood how we can use input function in order to take input from a user. If you want to take both kind of numbers, decimal as well as integers, so instead of mentioning integer here, it is better to mention here a float function. Is it clear so far? Pakka? Okay, now write a question and you can share the answer in the chat, but please do not use chat gpt or claude or anything else, huh? Just try it yourself. So I am asking you, write a program, write a program to ask user name, age, address, phone number, and after taking the information, display that information by printing a message, enter details are. Is it clear? So you need to take name, address, age, and phone number from a user and store it and display later. By printing a message, enter details are. So go ahead, you have 5 minutes or 10 minutes, write down a code to it and share in the chat. All clear? Okay, go ahead. पूरा प्रोग्राम लिख लेना पूरा. No cheating. चाहे गलत भी हो जाएगा, it's okay. If you are writing wrong, it's okay. No, nobody is going to judge you. It's about practicing, failing.
Sir, we had to take the input of phone number as well.
Yes, yes. तब तक के लिए हम वीडियो पॉज करते हैं.
End of the by end of 10 days
Yes,
in
yes.
Python, how much will we have